Buenas, bienvenidos a otro episodio. Ya ni les vamos a decir qué episodio es, ahí se van a dar cuenta en donde lo pongamos, al principio o al final. Estamos aquí con una invitada especial, pero primero que nada, aquí ya saben, sin miedo al éxito otra vez de nuevo, el nuevo episodio, corto, a lo mejor vamos a hacer este corto, pero...
Podcast número 120. No.
Todavía no, pero ya va. Nos falta
unos 100.
Un integrante del tripié, pero pues aquí le estamos dando duro. Él también le está dando duro, pero bueno, ya saben, un servidor aquí, Javier Siqueiros, con
Luis Carlos López.
Y también le queríamos decir que vamos a introducir a la persona nueva que está con nosotros y vamos a hacer este episodio en inglés.
English.
ESL. Because our guest is...
Oh, never mind. We could do this all in Spanish.
No, disculpen, va a ser en español. Ella sabe español, ya nos dijo. So, I just told him you know Spanish, so it's going to be all Spanish. Is that okay?
I might be a little quiet.
Pero bueno, aquí, nomás para que sepan. Okay. So, we have a very special guest, like I mentioned. This podcast is Sin Miedo Al Exito, which means no fear
to succeed.
Ooh,
oh, Jack.
Without fear to succeed. So,
zero fear.
Talk about anything and everything. Introduce yourself.
My name is Jacqueline Brunsting, and I speak a tiny bit of Spanish because I have lived in Tucson, Arizona my whole life.
Your whole life?
My whole life.
I bet you know a lot of bad words in Spanish, huh?
I know a few. I know when I'm being called a bad word.
There you go, Luis.
Oh, yeah?
You can't say any bad words in Spanish.
No. I hardly ever say bad words. Anyway, ask my wife. She knows.
Saint.
She knows, and sometimes she gets frustrated because I don't respond back with bad words when I should. Sometimes I'll smack my finger with a hammer, and typically people will say a bad word. But I'm like, oh my God,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh no. And she's like, you could have said oh. And I'm like, hey girl, that's
not me.
Keep it up.
That's not my style.
Keep it up, and I'm gonna forget why I married you. So,
jeez.
No, it's
that's intense.
He's so
over a bad word.
Yeah,
we're
intense. We're intense.
Oh, okay.
Jackie
should know that Hispanics are very intense. We love without fear. Kind of like
we succeed without fear.
Huh?
We succeed
and
without
we succeed without fear. Just kind of like the name of the podcast in Spanish. But
so,
Jackie, talk to us. Who is Jackie Brunsting? Where does she come from? What school? What high school did you graduate from? Let's start from graduation day. That's right, Javier.
Yeah,
I know when we started with a podcast, dude, we all kind of started like after.
High school.
Yeah, this is us, Jackie. Well, when I graduated high school,
this is what I did.
And then,
but it was like a 2-hour podcast that probably everybody got all bored about.
It was intense, though. It was intense, wasn't it?
Well, it was 2008, and the housing market
you know
was
what?
crashing.
We have an age limit. You're too young to be on the podcast. We're gonna need a consent form.
I'm not even in my 20s.
A consent form.
I'm allowed to be here.
All right, 2008. What high school?
I graduated from Amphitheater High School.
Nice. Okay.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Mascot?
Panthers.
Yeah.
Go Panthers.
Yes.
Dang. What sports did you play?
All of them. I swam. I ran cross country. I played soccer, of course, and I was on the track team.
Wow, that's pretty Hispanic-like too.
Yeah.
We swim, we jump, and we run. We do all those things collectively, all in one.
So when we ran track in high school, or ran cross country, when we ran against Douglas. You run 1 mile of the races along the border.
Yeah.
And all the time you would see people just pop their little heads up. And sometimes they would go over and just walk across casually. And at one point, there was a race where they threw a bunch of fruit. I don't know. They didn't like us.
Was it a little bit of a shock for you?
They probably thought you guys were running for your lives, and they're just trying to feed you guys. They're like, hey, you're going to need an orange. And,
it's a long way.
Yeah.
Take some snacks.
Where are you going? New York City or what? You're here, grab an orange.
Or bust.
No, it wasn't as shocking as you might think it would be, but... at first you're like, should we be concerned? And you look around and no one's concerned. So you're like, okay.
They just start running alongside you and shit.
They're in shot class.
And they're keeping up. You're like, I've been training my whole life for this, dog. And you're keeping up.
I train every day. And they're in their jeans, just like, yeah. No.
So you graduated high school, amphitheater, go Panthers. You swam. You did what else?
I played soccer and
Played
track.
soccer and track. All right.
Sports. All about sports. Huh?
Sports.
That was your thing?
Yeah.
You really liked them?
Yep.
First job.
Awesome.
Still play. My first job was actually a referee for soccer.
Is that a job though?
You get paid.
Oh, well, that's a job, right?
Well, let's go a little bit
Okay.
back.
Oh.
What was your dream? What did you want to do?
Oh, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then my dad was like, you only see sick animals. And I was like, oh, maybe it's not for me.
That's all it took.
That's all it took.
They're all dying.
Kind of, yeah. Oh, you love them so much? Well, you're going to see some bad ones. So I was like, oh, maybe it's not for me.
Never mind. I'll become a loan officer.
So,
I'll go into landing.
oh, geez. So, soccer referee.
Yep.
For how long? Was it high school?
God. I was a referee even earlier than, well, no. You can't do it until you're 16. So I started when I was 16, and then I guess my first full-time job was being a lifeguard for the city of Tucson.
Oh, really?
Parks and Rec?
Part-time?
I did that for 10 years.
What pools? All of them?
What? 10 years of your life?
I worked at Amphi Pool. I worked at Jacobs Park Pool. I worked at Fort Lowell Pool and at Udall. I did the most time at Udall.
So a lot of people might know you.
They might.
Did you save anybody's life?
I did.
Oh,
A little girl. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Drowning
Zero
isn't like
fear.
you think.
Hey, then that fits with the podcast.
I mean, I'm sure that you probably were fearful, even though with all the training and everything, but you
It
like...
was surreal. She wasn't moving. She could barely stand, and she was just staring at me. You picture people drowning in a lot of water splashing and someone
But you
yelling
just
help.
see- yeah.
Nope. Just dead staring at me. Kind of like, are you going to do something? And
Wow.
so I didn't even blow my whistle. I just got down and picked her up. It was really interesting. Kind of
Wow, Jackie,
That's
I didn't
amazing.
know that about you.
saved a life.
Dang.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So then after that, after 10 years of that?
I was also a bartender for a very long time.
All right, we're going to have to cut this part out.
Did you like that?
Oh, I loved bartending. Yeah.
It's funny because I've always been really good at mixing drinks, and I've always like, I don't know, had a knack for that. And I'm like,
For drinking?
should I? Let's
I've
cut
been
that-
to
let's cut
several of
that
these
out.
parties.
You usually make good drinks if you're good at drinking.
So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a casual drinker, but I do like to drink, and I always thought like I should become a bartender. I should go but I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's just the lifestyle you have to live as a bartender is kind of like you're going out every single day.
Yep.
And it's just you don't have that stability in a sense because every day is something new, and every and then I would say as a female it would be a little bit harder because you have a lot of guys trying to hit on you.
Depending on how you look at it.
That's true. That's true. And I mean for guys too. I mean same thing. I mean maybe there's a lot of women trying to hit on the guys and stuff,
I'm sure.
and maybe get cheap drinks or free drinks or whatever it is.
Right.
I don't know. I've never been a bartender, so you would know, but. I think that's more for me. It was more of I didn't want to be partying every single night.
Right.
And that's kind of a lifestyle that you have to live.
I mean, you're in a
think.
party environment. Yeah.
Yeah. So that.
Did
that
you always
kind of
feel
goes.
like you were like at a party? Like, let's just say, I know that Monday through Thursday, maybe not, but like Fridays and Saturday, were you like in party mode when you were a bartender?
Yeah, because obviously there's an environment that's created in the place that you're working. So like you just kind of sink into it. Yeah. The music's playing, you're dancing, you're, while you're making drinks and connecting with your customers, and they're having a good time, so you're having a good time. It's like a mirrored energy almost.
That's like the perfect job because then you're getting paid for it, you're getting some tips and
she was saving lives in the daytime, and she was partying at night. I mean, perfect.
We messed up somewhere in our lives
You gotta pick fun jobs.
because now we are
But you don't.
mortgage loan officers and a real estate agent.
So serious.
I know, huh?
I know. It's just like. That's
Oh, you know what? Interest rates today.
Oh yeah, you didn't mention them.
Interest rates today they're not looking very favorable. Like, we gain a little bit, and then we like lose twice as much as we gain. So FHA, USDA, VA coming in right around 6.75 to 7-ish.
So the lowest 6.75. No one can get lower unless you buy down.
You could buy points. You know, you could
but
buy.
Other than that, 6.75.
I think this is gonna be like the new normal, and I think we better get used to it, because if people are on the fence about buying a house, they're gonna be in for a surprise, because this is gonna be the new normal.
Yeah.
And home prices are gonna keep climbing because of the lack of inventory, and builders cannot keep up with building new homes. So, and then there's they were talking about a big chunk of homes being occupied by like Airbnb, like the short-term rentals. Yeah. So there's a rental crisis and a shortage of home crisis. So that's like the perfect recipe for home values to keep climbing.
There's just so much. I think there's just a lot. I mean, like even rentals. You think about before, I mean, people, even that worked at a low-paying job, minimum wage job, were able to afford at least a studio, at least a 1-bedroom or something like that. Now,
no.
You have to have like a median salary to even afford a studio. You can't afford a house. You can't afford any of that stuff because it's just so inflated, so crazy. I mean, and I think something has to happen, because what is happening, for example, in California, minimum wage, I don't even know what it is, but I know it's like significantly higher than here. But that's because all the prices are so blown up out there.
Right.
And that's why they're trying to keep
there's
up with that.
just no way, yeah.
Yeah. So, but still, even then, I mean, I don't know. I remember when I was younger, I mean, and thinking about moving out, I'm like, oh, I can work at McDonald's and live on my own,
Yeah.
And now
that's not happening.
You need to work at 3 McDonald's the same day.
You need to take your sister, you need to take your brother to live with you, and their friends, and they all got to chip in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? The other day I was talking to a client that bought a house that has a studio in it, and they don't rent it out, nothing, right? But somebody contacted them to see if they would rent out the studio, and they're like, well, you know what? It's not a bad idea. It's just right there. We should, think about it. So they talked it over. The husband and the wife talked it over, and then they reached out. They're like, Luis, how much should we rent this studio for? It's a studio. It's their bedroom, a little kitchenette, and a bathroom, right?
Yeah.
Closet. I'm like, honestly, that's not my field. I wouldn't be able to tell you what you can rent it for. He's like, I was thinking maybe like $500-$600. I'm like, I don't know what to suggest. So he's like, I'm just gonna have them tell me what they're willing to pay, and then I'll feed off of that. I'm like, perfect. Let me know, because I'm curious.
$1,100.
They were willing to pay anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500, dude. For the studio.
For a studio.
And then they on the reply it said, we're sorry, we don't even know if that's even acceptable, and hope we're not hurting your feelings by this. I was like, dude. He's like, I'll take $1,000.
Yeah, 2 years ago, someone I know was
with
renting
no
a
hurt
studio
feelings.
for $400.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
$400 for a studio.
That's so crazy.
That's
so
insane.
People that are on the fence, they need to get off of it.
I hope it's a comfortable fence.
It better be comfortable.
Yeah, because it's insane. I mean, I don't know. Something's got to give, right?
You're right.
Something's
it's not
gotta
sustainable.
Give. Yeah, it's just something's got to give. I mean, I don't see a crash like we had in 2007, 2008, because a lot of that was mostly everybody and anybody getting loans, no matter what.
Bad loans.
Arm loans, which obviously went up in the monthly payment in 5 years. It went up 3 times what you were paying, so obviously people couldn't pay them. But it's just, I don't think that kind of crash is going to happen, but something definitely has to. I mean, we have to stabilize somehow. Yeah. I feel that, I don't know. I really don't know where it starts or how it starts, but I just feel that something does have to happen.
Interest rates, I think, have to normalize so that people can, because they call this the locked-in effect, that people have such a low interest rate, such a good mortgage payment, that even though they would like to upgrade, they can't because they just can't. It's not that they can't afford it, because we're pre-qualifying people, and we're just giving them these monthly mortgage payments, and they look at us like we're crazy. So it's the locked-in effect.
Yeah.
When rates come down, they'll be able to sell. That'll create more inventory,
or keep it as an investment.
Sales. Yeah,
exactly. And then buy something else. But
at least help the rental market by keeping it as an investment or a rental property.
Correct.
At the very least.
Yeah. So we interrupted you.
Sorry. Back to Jackie. We're sorry.
Sorry, Jackie. We won't interrupt you anymore. Just
go ahead.
Finish introducing yourself. You left off at saving a life, being a bodyguard, and then going to go drink at your bartending job.
Yeah, so you were a bartender. It was a fun environment.
Yes.
Party mode.
Yes. But then I graduated a little bit, if you will, and I went to a very high-end resort where I actually became an introductory level sommelier and got very into wine.
What was that? What?
Hey, you got to remember, we are ESL kids. English as a second language. You can't just come in here and say sommelier because I'm
French.
thinking it's a dessert.
It's French. Sommelier is a wine expert.
Oh.
And there are varying levels. I was at the very bottom level, but I would pair wine with food.
Cheese.
And heck yeah.
What can I pair with?
Charcuterie boards.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. That's cool.
So I ended up doing a lot of that, and that was, I got very passionate about that.
Did you ever meet anybody famous at this high-end resort?
Yes.
Who?
Lots of famous people.
Really?
Yeah.
Could you disclose?
Huh?
Could you disclose?
I don't know.
You don't know if you...
I think you can.
Well, yeah.
I think
and you don't have to say where or anything, just names.
So,
YouTube,
Common,
if we can't, you could just blur this out.
Common used to love the resort. I met Rachel Bilson, was an absolute sweetheart. Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox visited at one point.
Wow.
Gerard Butler asked me for water one day.
What?
Were you like starstruck every time?
Yeah.
Can I get some water?
Right away.
You did the whole got the pitcher and poured it on him.
You could pair your water with some wine, right?
What wine goes well with water?
This iced water goes really well with this Riesling.
Yes. I'll take 2 of those.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what happened?
2020 happened.
What happened in 2020?
Oh,
COVID, right?
COVID. So I actually worked at the Hyatt Regency in Scottsdale, which was largely a large traveling group hotel. And because all of that business ceased to exist at the drop of a hat, 75% of their staff was fired, and I was one of them.
What?
Wow.
So I had to find a new field.
So, like you just said, you know what? I'm going to go into the lending world.
Well, I bought my first house in 2015. And it was the best decision I ever made financially.
Listen up, guys.
I was 24 years old. I was fresh out of college. I was bartending at the time. And I decided to purchase a house. It was small. It was definitely a starter home. And oddly enough, our boss, Zach Mooney, was my lender. And so, he approved me for a loan for $100,000.
Yeah.
We're going to bring Zach.
Yeah.
But it was feasible back then. It was something you could find a
Yes.
decent place for that amount
But
of
I'll
money.
tell you, so for the people thinking about sitting on the fence, when I purchased that home, I refinanced in 2020 and my mortgage payment went from $600 to $400. Yeah, it was a 2-bed, 1-bath, but I was paying $400 a month.
For rent?
For my mortgage. So if I had stayed...
You were paying how much for your mortgage?
My mortgage was $400 in 2021. That's 2 years ago. So if I'd kept that home, I could rent it. I could have rented it out, and for $1,000, which would be a steal for someone renting a 2-bed, 1-bath.
Yeah.
And still made $600.
That's what they're paying for a studio. That's crazy.
Something to think about.
But you cashed in and then bought a mansion.
It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom mansion.
Nice.
A home is a home.
Yeah.
Well, the way it is, I mean, you don't really, how can I put it? Sometimes you just don't realize how comfortable you are, I guess, in a home, because you always want more, right? You always want a bigger home. You always want bigger yards. You always want more.
Just need one more closet.
See? Yeah, so...
Well, it's because there's stepping stones, and people don't realize that when you buy...
have to start somewhere.
You got to start from the bottom. I wish I wish my first home was a mansion. But honestly, dude, it was not a mansion, dude. And
everybody wishes that. Everybody wishes you had the nice cars, the nice homes, the nice everything. I mean, but like you said, it's
be realistic.
Just a step. It's just a step, and it's not something that will happen immediately unless you come from a wealthy family.
Right.
You know, and even then, some wealthy families, they don't want
they don't
their
even
kids.
Do that.
Yeah, they don't.
They're
they
wealthy.
Want their kids to
they're
work.
wealthy because they're smart with their money. So sometimes they'll even let their kids start small
From
and
scratch.
work their way up because they don't just feed it all to them all at once because you never know what can happen. You know, money goes quicker than it comes. So I'll say.
I know.
So sorry again.
No,
we go off on a wild tangent.
I think
Sorry.
that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
You're giving us good topics.
You're welcome. So I got fired in 2020. And then I worked in property management for a year, which will destroy your soul almost as much as taking your clothes off for money. So I had to get out of there. But because I had this passion about purchasing my first home, I was like, okay, this is, and so I had a connection to Ryan Von Drack, our CEO, and I reached out to him and said, hey, look, I want a job in this industry. And he said, whatever position you want, just pick it. Go to our career page, pick what you want. And so I actually started as a business development coordinator, which was a great start because you have to do all the footwork for what you would have to do as a loan officer anyways, which is creating relationships with realtors and referral partners and all of that. So I think that was a great intro to becoming a loan officer. But I'm extremely passionate about people buying their homes. So I didn't know this was my dream job, but it is 100%
your
my
dream job.
It is.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was very cliche, and I've said it before in this podcast, but it was very cliche for me to think, love what you do and never work a day in your life. So I was like, that's
labor
dumb.
of love.
Yeah, I'm like, that's dumb. I'm like, how could you do that? But I'm living it. I'm living it. So I don't know if you say, if it's that to that extent for you with this job, but for me, it's like, I just can't believe that saying is actually true. And maybe when I would hear it, I was just so bitter with life that I was like, how is that possible? Now I live it and I'm like, wow, like this is amazing. So it's always choosing what your heart desires for the most part, but there's, life throws you curveballs and it takes you places that you never imagined. And you're like, oh, I wanted to do this. And that's what I dream of. But now I'm doing this and I love it more than if I was doing that, So it's just something, it's just crazy.
Sometimes you don't know it's your dream until you're doing it.
That's right.
That's true. That's true. Dreams do come true.
Yes, every day.
So then from that, you decided to be a loan officer.
Mm-hmm.
Get your license.
Here I am.
Did someone tell you?
Tell me what?
Hey, you should get your license. Or was it more of, I'm going to do it because I'm determined?
That.
Good for you.
I actually, I was very pregnant when I left the BDC position. And so I had maternity leave and I thought I should use this time wisely. And so I studied and took the test then.
That's awesome. So how is it now juggling motherhood with, being a loan officer and
the demands that this job requires?
It is extremely challenging.
How many kids do you have?
Just one.
One. Boy, girl?
A little girl.
Natalie.
Natalie.
Cutest thing ever, dude.
Natalie. How old is she?
One.
Yeah.
She just turned one last week.
Wow, that's awesome.
It is.
And I've seen the struggles with Jackie. She puts in the work, dude. Like she'll walk in here with Natalie, walk her around. I think Natalie knows this is like her second home because she has that office is her room,
Wow, that's awesome.
I bring her in often.
It's very inspirational to see somebody that is determined like Jackie to make this work because not a lot of people are willing to put in the hard work. And maybe in the market that we're in right now, somebody that does that puts in the work like Jackie doesn't see the benefit of it. But she is laying the foundation, and she doesn't even know. And I always tell other loan officers that we work with that are a little newer than I am. I just tell them this is like school right now. You guys are in school. Like, if you get a paycheck, that's awesome. because in school you don't get paychecks.
Yeah.
But learn all that you can right now, so when the market changes, and it's gonna change.
Yeah.
You're gonna be so prepared, and you're gonna reap the benefits of putting in that hard work, of waking up early that morning without even knowing what's gonna happen today or the rest of this week.
Yeah, I think it's a tough road regardless, it's a really, really tough road that a lot of people just, they get out of their comfort zone and they just don't want to continue because it's really hard. I mean, this job is not easy. A lot of people are like, as a realtor, as a loan officer, like, what do you guys do? Oh, as a loan officer, you just take applications and give them a loan and that's it. Like, it's just so much more. Yeah, I mean, you don't just collect information. I mean, you make it happen, as a loan officer. And as a realtor, I mean, we're out there. We're out there just trying to make sure that people don't fall into the wrong hands. They don't, fall into fraud. They don't fall into any of that. And it's just something that people don't realize. It's like, you can say that about any career, any job. What does a doctor do? Oh, they just cure people. That's it. Like, I mean, he had, there was he was at the surgery and he died. Why didn't the doctor do it? I mean, it's just so much more complicated than what it seems always. And I think that for a lot of people, it just doesn't make sense to continue in a career that they think is not going to be fruitful. Right. And maybe because they lose that love, maybe because they don't like to be in a, hard situation financially or mentally, because mentally this job, this, career path, whatever it is, it's tough. It's really tough.
I think that's the toughest part is the mental stress that we go through. It's something, honestly, that I've never in my life would have thought that I would have ever felt or dealt with. It's that stressful. But what's good to do, and they always say this to surround yourself with positive people, because honestly, dude, if it wasn't for some of these younger generation loan officers like Jackie, Steve, and some of the others that are here, dude, they are so positive. Like you see them and you talk to them and and they still come in and grind, dude. Even though they might not be happy-go-lucky because they're going through their own personal struggles, but you see them show up. That to me is positive. And I'm in my mind, there's days that I say, I'm just gonna stay home because I don't have to come into the office. Yeah. They don't have to come into the office. But when they show up, dude, I'm like, I can't let Jackie show me up. Dude. I can't. I've been doing this longer than she has.
Jackie can't be better than me. I'm gonna bring a crib in here too.
I'm coming.
It makes you better. Honestly, it makes you better when you have people like that, and that you surround yourself with people that show up and they come in and they genuinely want to learn and want to grow and are genuinely interested in their profession. Yeah. It's inspiring, dude.
It just fuels you, I think, to be in an industry where people are trying to hustle the same way that you are. Yeah. And I mean, at least for me, I feel like there's no level of competition except for myself. Right. I compete with myself. I see other realtors and I see what they're doing and I'm, sometimes I'm not doing something, or maybe, as a human, I feel like, I should be doing that. Like, that would be cool to do, or, I should be. But honestly, like, it's tougher to just kind of stay in your lane and stay focused and do your thing, because at the end of the day, like I always say, the sun shines for everyone. So you could be a top performer, but so could you. And you're not trying to compete with him because maybe his market is
I am.
Oh, it's on.
It's on.
Jeez, I could be the referee. Are you guys going to pay me?
Yeah, how much?
I'll pay you what I made when I was 16 years old.
Perfect. I'll take it. $100 a week.
Yeah, I'd probably.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'll take that. Now that's all. Yeah, I mean, and it's just, I just feel like, and if it was a competition, let's say between both of you, it's a healthy competition. Right. It's not like I'm going to bring you down, because if you like took his market and then all of a sudden you're top performer and he had no market, no business, you would kind of feel guilty. And that's not what you're trying to do. No. But, if you took his market because of his lack of work, then that's on him. That's not on you.
Right.
You know, it's not malicious what you did. So it's just, you just kept working. He didn't. So it just boils down to just always have good intentions, always be kind, always try to be the best that you can be and not better than anybody else, because there's always going to be someone better than you.
Right.
Always, no matter what. But as long as you're happy in your own skin, in your own, mind, and you're like, I'm going to be better for myself because this makes me happy.
You're already winning.
You're already winning.
And
you
for
don't
your
have
people. You need to be better for your people.
to. Yeah, exactly.
Your family, your friends that you're helping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mental health is really important. Well, I wish we could have touched on that, but if we do touch on, mental health right now, we've been doing this, 30 minutes now? We're going to be here another 2 hours, I think, because it's a nonstop.
That is it.
With mental health. But we'll incorporate it little by little. Yeah, definitely. So, and then how long have you been doing this?
As a loan officer? I started in January, so I'm pretty fresh.
Oh, wow.
Jackie. Oh
I
my
know.
God, it hasn't even been a year.
I'm just a little baby.
In January, we're throwing you a 1-year birthday party.
Birthday party, loan officer party.
I love it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
And you see this for the long haul.
I want to do this forever.
Good for you. Good for you.
If that doesn't show how much she loves it, I don't know what does. Like, who really says I want to do this forever?
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to do it till I'm like 62. When does he get the Social Security?
Yeah.
63 and a half? Until they take my driver's license away?
See how much they give me a month?
Yeah, let me see what Social Security looks like at that point, and then I'll decide.
Yeah.
$15 a month. So, no, that's awesome. That's really great. I love to see people being successful. I love to see people doing what they love to do and not being, held back from doing what they want to do because of fear, because of, not taking that leap or whatever it is, because a lot of people stay at their jobs and stay at what they're doing, stay at their rentals, stay at their, in their comfort zone, just because it's hard for them to just take that little step.
Yeah.
And-
You got to
and-
get
and
comfortable
started.
being uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
You got to, dude.
Yeah.
You got to.
I've been very uncomfortable for the last.
And that's growth.
And it's going to
And that's
continue.
growth.
It's probably going to continue. And
Yeah.
it's growth.
Yes.
It's learning. I mean, which is great. Being uncomfortable is not a bad thing.
Right.
You have to be good with change and be uncomfortable, because that's what makes you move forward and makes you just keep on going
Right.
harder and faster and with more hustle. So, what could you say to our viewers to, whether it's whatever comes from your heart, whatever advice that you could give that you think, has maybe pushed you through, or maybe, something you've learned in life that you just want to tell someone?
What advice would you give Jackie that was the bartender
Oh.
Jackie, if you could give her advice right now?
That life will always ebb and flow. It's not always going to be great, and you're
All
not
right,
constantly
I don't know that word.
striving to be. Sorry.
All right, pause. Ebb and
Ebb and flow.
oh, I don't know.
Ebb and flow.
Ebb and flow.
I even
It just reminds me of that. Isn't there like bottles, like baby bottles called Even Flow?
Yes, there are.
Okay, so
Okay.
ESL girl, you gotta break it down. What's ebb and flow for me?
There are highs and lows.
Oh, got it. Carry on.
Yeah. So even if you're experiencing a high, ride it, enjoy it, love it. But there's going to be a low, and just know that the low is going to pass. That time is going to pass. Get through it. Enjoy the little things while you can, because you're going to reach a new height. And the thing is, you're not striving for every day to be better. You're getting through whatever period or season of life you're in.
Right.
because nothing lasts forever.
Nothing gold can stay.
Nothing. So
That's good advice. That genuinely
really
is.
is.
Good advice.
that really is. You're gonna have to come back when we have our mental health section, so we can talk about that.
I can do the health sec. My degree is in nutrition, actually. So.
There you
Oh,
go. And then you can
Speaking
teach.
of vitamin
You can
D.
teach. You can teach me. What to eat, not what vitamins to take, but what to eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Nice.
thank you so much. Thank you so
No,
much
thank you for having me.
Thanks,
for
Jacqueline.
for being here, for sharing your a little bit of your life story and
my struggle.
Your wisdom.
Your passion. Natalie.
And I'm not even going to ask you what it's like to, work alongside Luis because we don't want to hear all that negativity right now.
A whole other podcast.
Yeah, 2 hours long.
Yeah. So this is the end of this episode, I believe. Unless you have anything else to add.
I'm good.
I
just got my feelings hurt at the end, but we'll just close with the hurting Luis's feelings.
No.
Podcast.
We closed with her. We closed with her wisdom.
Her feelings towards working with Luis and having that struggle.
So next time, we're gonna have Luis instead. It might be in English, it might be in Spanish, but again, thanks so much. I'm gonna speak Spanish now, just letting you know. So if you don't understand something, just let me know. Muchas gracias por escuchar nuestro podcast, por estar aquí siempre al pendiente de nosotros, por siempre escucharnos y querernos, y gracias por estar presente aquí con nosotros. Les prometemos muchísimos más temas, muchísimos más segmentos, muchos más episodios. Aquí vamos a estar, no nos vamos, así que gracias. Un servidor, Javier Siqueiros,
Luis Carlos López y Jacqueline
Brunstein.
Otro episodio. Muchas gracias. Sin miedo al éxito. Nos vemos a la próxima. Thank you. Bye.